Hey guys, what is going on? Sharp Thinking here. So I wanted to do a final video or a conclusive analysis video on this knife. This is the Microtech LUDT. Over the past 6 months or so, I would say that this knife went from not being on my radar to being one of my favorite knives of all time. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that after we do a size comparison. But yeah, this knife is nuts. It's absolutely incredible, in my opinion. Here it is against a Strider SNG and a Hinderer XM18. Here it is against a Microtech SOCOM Elite, that is. Here it is against a Microtech Stitch. Let's see here. Here it is against a Chris Reeve Sebenza 21 and a Chris Reeve Umnumzon. And then here it is against a North Arm Skaha 2 and a Spyderco Military. Alright guys, so starting with the blades on the LUDT, they offer, as far as I know, only 3 different blade steels. I have 2 of them here. Actually, I think it's 4, but 2 of them are analogs. So they offer M390/204P, LMAX, and then they offer XHP. So the LUDT has one of my favorite blade shapes. It has a lot of good things going on. It's a very classic drop point. Nice belly running all the way through the blade. I think it's a good looking blade. The knife itself is not that good looking. I think it's mostly the handle that kind of looks weird. One thing that I'm surprised that I like is how the blade is stanced back. You guys know normally what I like in a knife is being able to access the entire cutting edge with it in your hand. So knives like the Microtech Stitch, which I think I just showed you guys, you can access all the way from back here to the tip while holding the knife. This knife is not quite like that. You can really only access a little bit of the blade when you're holding it. So if you're doing draw cuts, you're really limited to, I'd say, about here to the point. Not a bad thing. I think most knives are like that, like the PM2 for instance. So not too detrimental to performance. It's just something I've grown to like. The ProTech TR4 also had that kind of blade shape that I like. But the shape itself is very good. It is a flat grind, not a full flat, but kind of a partial flat, we'll call it. This knife comes to an incredibly keen edge. This one is about 8 thousandths behind the edge. This guy has been used and sharpened and beat up. You can see the blade's all worn, and the buttons even, starting to chip away. This guy probably sits around 10 to 11 thousandths behind the edge. That's insane. That is half of a PM2 behind the edge. This one is less than half of a PM2 behind the edge. These things cut so incredibly well, and that's part of why I like them as an EDC. People might argue that that M390 is chippy, which it's not, especially from Microtech. They tend to run their M390 around 58 to 60. We've seen it closer to 58, unfortunately. That's been the case with the this guy too, the Microtech SOCOM. Yeah, kind of unfortunate. I wish it were run at 60 to 62. That would be much better in my opinion. But yeah, people like to say that, oh well, they, Spyderco leaves their knives thick behind the edge because, they wanted to blah 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 whatever. These knives, I've used this one a lot, and my SOCOM as well. Actually, let's take this guy out of the box. I'm actually sending it to Super Steel Steve. So this knife has been used, if I can get it out of the bag. This knife has been used for all kinds of things. For a while I was doing like renovations on a house, and this thing held up great. It's about 10 thousandths down here, and then it gets significantly thicker towards the tip. But yeah, no problems, and it's M390. So I have to ask what people are doing, or I have to wonder what people are doing when they take a chunk out of their blade. I've never met somebody that's done that. So, you know, you could argue that, well, the blade's not as durable. I think that's kind of propaganda. I don't believe it. A lot of Striders are thin behind the edge now. These are thin behind the edge. We need to fucking switch over, you know? It doesn't make sense to have a knife that's thick behind the edge. Especially a knife like this where it's a lightweight EDC style. The SOCOM, I would give it a pass if it were a little thicker behind the edge, but even then, I think it's perfect where it's at now. So moving on to the, well, we'll keep talking about the blade. Crown spine, pretty cool. I know Nero Knives likes that quite a bit. He likes this knife quite a bit. But I know he's a giant fan of crown spines. Jimping is not painful, so I'll give it a pass. I don't think the knife needs jimping, and I don't really think that this does anything to add to traction whatsoever, especially not on this. This is like a slick coated version. Cerakote seems to be almost like a lubricant for cutting through cardboard. I don't know if that's all Cerakotes or if it's just this color. But, well, I know it's not just this color because I've used this one a lot. You can see how it held up. But it kind of adds, I don't know, it seems to cut a little bit better through cardboard. It doesn't bind as much. But maybe that's just me losing my mind. Moving on to the handle. Handle has a lot of good things going for it. It has some things that are maybe not as good. I guess we'll start with what's good. I'm going to take one of these out of the frame. So what's good about the handle? It's got that flat back design. So most of the pressure that your hand experiences is being applied to the more muscular parts of your hand. This is the most sensitive part of your hand. I think Nero was the first to make a video on it, but when knives have a curvature to them and they push on the inside of your hand, it is extremely uncomfortable. Hinderers do this, Spydercos do this, like the PM2 and the Milli, and you know I love the Milli, but I mean it does it, you know? This knife does not do that. It puts all the force back on the, mostly right in here, which is good. So you can see there is a taper to the handle, just like with the SOCOM. It starts out thick down here, and then it tapers down by here, or by the lanyard hole. Same deal here. It gets a little bit thinner. I know some people don't like that. I've talked to a couple local guys I hang out with, and they're not really a big fan of it. Nice texture on here. It doesn't really do anything, but it adds some visual stuff to the handle. I like the hardware on this. I don't really care that I can't adjust it. I mean, you can get the tool. It's about, what is it, 30 bucks. So all in all, not bad. In my opinion, for a knife that's 250 bucks, $30 tool, not the end of the world. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I think it's just kind of cool, you know? It adds some visual interest to a otherwise pretty boring knife. This knife is not like some riveting, beautiful, stunning design. It's kind of ugly. I mentioned that earlier in the video. And yeah, I truly think that this knife is not that attractive. It does grow on you after you start carrying it and using it, but definitely not a looker, I would not say. This is an auto. This knife, the spring actually broke once I sent it into Microtech. They were great. The warranty was amazing. I sent an Ultratech in as well. They fixed both of them up. This now fires insanely hard. Even harder than this guy, which is basically new in box. I don't carry this one. This is my user. But yeah, amazing warranty. I know that there has been talk of their warranty being not great. I think that may have changed. I know Jason is, I think he works hand in hand with their warranty, and he is just an incredible guy. I mean, he really cares about the company, and it shows. It really shows. I reached out to him just to ask a question, and he got back to me in, I'd say, no less than, I don't know, 2 hours. Or no more than 2 hours, no less. Yeah, so I reached out. I wanted to know if I could send in the Ultratech with it, even though I didn't have an RA number, which is like how they know whose knife is whose. He said, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you. And I got an email once they got the knives saying that, hey, the knives are here. And they even assigned the Ultratech a new RA number, which I thought was awesome. And they notified me in a separate email of what the RA number was. Phenomenal, in my opinion. It doesn't get much better than that. Something that I don't know. I think a warranty, like a good warranty, should communicate more information rather than focus on just getting stuff done quickly. Like, to me, knowing that, hey, they got the knives, like they're in their hands, and then, you know, just getting feedback once every week, I'd say, was awesome. I got a call from somebody at Microtech. I was like, what the fuck? This is incredible. Like, they just kept me in the loop with everything. They just took care of me, basically. So yeah, I don't know what people are talking about when they say that Microtech has a bad warranty. Some people seem to think that you can't sharpen the knives. They just don't want you to fuck up the blade. So if you go to sharpen it on like a grinder and then you flat grind it on one side, they're not going to warranty that. I think they do offer blade replacements. I think they're pretty expensive though. I think they're $150, which is a good bit. I think Chris Reeve is about $180 or maybe $165 or something. But yeah. What else? Clip. I love the clip. It's pulled from the old SOCOM. So these clips right here used to be on the 2011 or 2010, 2011, and 2012 SOCOMs. I owned a 2012 back in the day, and it had this exact clip. Now, I do like the SOCOM clip more. It's got that secondary retention, but this is still a very good clip, and it's mounted in a great spot, so it carries fairly deep. I don't know, good clip, doesn't really interfere with ergonomics too much. You can feel it in this grip, but if you choke up a little bit, which I tend to do if I'm cutting cardboard, it goes right in the center of your palm, and your palm kind of dodges it entirely. When you're gripped back on the knife like this, in whatever this grip is called, you also dodge it. For me, this point goes right in between my fingers and doesn't feel too bad. Now, when I grip it like this in a hammer grip, it's uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what can be done, but I don't know. It's not the end of the world though. Does it suck? Yeah. But I don't know. Every knife has its little downfall. Another ergonomic thing that I noticed is, well, the jimping down here does nothing to interfere with ergonomics. It does nothing to benefit ergonomics either. But this grip area is a little small, in my opinion. I think I wear a large size glove. You can see. I mean, my hand fits, but just barely. It is pretty close. If it weren't for this curvature at the end, I would feel like, I don't know, I think it would feel more like it needed more handle. Due to the curvature, you kind of get locked in, and it's a very gradual curvature too, so it's not super uncomfortable. I would say that ergonomics on this are really good. For a while, I thought that they were incredible, and then through really getting to use this knife and experience it, they're just good. They're really good. I would say better than a PM2, but they're not exceptional. To me, the SOCOM is a little bit better. The clip, you don't feel at all. You don't have any hot spots really in any grip. It's a good time with the SOCOM. This knife is close, but it could be improved. So let's talk about the fit and finish of the knife. People oftentimes will ask, what's better, ProTech or Microtech? In my opinion, Microtech is the go-to for out the front knives, and their folders are second to none. When it comes to build quality of a side opening auto, to me, ProTech seems like they make a higher quality auto. It seems to be fit better, finished better. The designs are not always as good as the LUDT. They do have great designs, but no ProTech I've handled cuts like this knife. So if your focus is on build quality and having a nice fit and finish, ProTech, say that the TR3 is very similar to this, might be better for you. If you're looking for just a damn near perfect EDC, I would go LUDT every day of the week. I own 2 of these at the moment. I'm waiting on my 3rd from River's Edge Cutlery. Yeah, super cool. These knives come in a lot of flavors. You can see this one here is an OD green handle with a what did the guy say? I think he called it a bronze Cerakote. I kept calling it tan. He kept correcting me. The guy at Microtech. Comes in fun colors like purple, red, orange. You can get black blades. You can get stonewash blades. They have custom versions that you can get. I saw Tony Marfione posted up a carbon fiber handle with a mirror polish blade. That's probably going to be, I would say, $1,200, but if you want it, it's there. Yeah, all in all, I think that this is a pretty phenomenal design. I think it's executed well. What I think most people would want changed primarily is they would want this knife to not be an auto, because every time I post this knife on my Instagram, people say I'd buy it if it weren't an auto. I get it. Not everybody wants to carry an auto. Me, I don't care. I don't give a fuck about action. If it's a good action, I'll be able to appreciate that. But if it's not, and it's just like this is not, it's not a good drop shot action, obviously. It's a knife, it opens, it closes, it does everything it needs to do. And that's really why I like this knife. It's not trying too hard. It's just a tool. It's a beautiful tool in the case of this one with the satin. Beautiful satin. Pretty consistent. Up here by the tip, it looks like the satin got a little deeper. I don't know what exactly happened there. Another thing I would think people would want changed is the hardware. A lot of guys do not like the hardware. I personally like it. I don't really care. I actually just got a sigil, a Microtech sigil, the MK6, I believe. And it's got the same hardware. I don't really care. It doesn't make a difference to me. Tip strength, which I forgot to cover, pretty good. It's a nice balance between strength and piercing ability. But yeah, all in all, I cannot recommend this knife enough. For the 3.25 to 3.5 inch blade fans, this is just incredible EDC. It is really, like, it has taken over my EDC. It's in my top 5. It's just nuts, you know? It's such a good design. It's been around forever, and no surprise, right? When you make a knife, basically what I was saying about this American Blade Works Model 1 is the design is good. If the design is good, like this, the knife will be around forever. This knife came out in 1997, the SOCOM. Still in production. What else? Chris Reeve, that's about a 30-year-old design. The SNG from Strider is about a 20-year-old design. The XM18 has been around for a long time. All of these really well-designed knives stick around, and the LUDT is no exception. It is truly phenomenal. So if you guys have any further questions for me, either leave them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I appreciate you guys all watching, and I will see you in the next video.